DNVR Broncos podcast coming to you from Studio A here at the DNVR Bar. And the A today stands for Breakout.
Or Manson.
At least Breakout has an A sound in it.
Oh, yeah, I guess it's not.
Well, I was watching SportsCenter this morning, and they called him Josh Mason.
Okay,
So,
wow. Well, they'll maybe learn.
This is a weird thing because it's like you want these places to talk about hockey, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they're just so bad at it.
Yep. And then you're, maybe not.
You're
Just show us the highlights.
Can you guys at least just learn the players?
Right.
What was that, a typo in the script?
Right.
We're not reviewing these? I don't know.
And Manson, not hard. It must have been a typo. I think I even would get Manson if it went across
First
my
try?
teleprompter. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
Now,
But again, you also just have to know, if you knew the player, you wouldn't mispronounce, which tells me that person doesn't watch at all.
You know when he got his first playoff career goal, the people that don't know hockey very well were saying, "Who? Oh shit!"
So check this out. We had awesome seats last night, and hockey, since there's 3 periods, it's uneven, right? So you get the team going because we're in the end.
Right.
We only got them once, which is kind of a bummer, right? And
the
you could
ads coming your way?
Yeah. And when you buy the tickets, it tells you, home team goes this way twice. Home team.
So are those more expensive then?
So the ones on the side that gets it twice are more expensive. But overtime, it flips back. So we got the overtime right in front of us, the goal right in front of us. It was sick.
Wait, but I thought when you bought the tickets, you thought you were getting the home. Oh, you knew you were getting away.
I knew we were going. Yeah, we were on the other side.
Man, well, that's perfect.
But it was so sick.
Cheaper, and you got the
best angle of the biggest play.
Oh man.
Yep, it was sick. Anyways, I said the A stands for Breakout. I think that's what I have to do to start working in the sound of A.
There we go.
And
it's going to take me a while to get on board.
Fine. I want to talk to you about who is going to be the breakout player for the Denver Broncos this year, because I think there's some really fun ones.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited for this discussion. We'll get into it just a second after we give a shout out to our friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook, who are giving they're giving you $150 in free bets if you simply bet on any NBA money line. You got Warriors or Mavs tonight?
I got Warriors. Unfortunately, Ryan,
I'm falling for the hype.
I put my bet on Warriors to win the whole thing when they were at plus 450, and I hate it. It disgusts me that I would ever bet on them, but if they win, I'm not going to be happy about it, but at least that will help me succumb to them winning.
All right, fair enough. I think I'm buying the Mavs hype.
Oh, when you said hype, I thought you were talking about the Warriors hype.
No, there's a lot of Mavs hype out there right now. Luka has ascended to a new level.
Yep.
The only thing I worry about is Draymond being a Luka stopper.
Yep.
I mean, he's pretty much an everyone stopper except Jokic.
Yep.
He did for a game.
But then Jokic figured him out.
Yep,
what was it, 37 in back-to-back games?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Really quick, on DraftKings, a fun thing that you can do, you can bet for this series the leading scorer once the series is over. You know who the favorite is?
To score the most points in the series?
Yep.
It's not Luka?
No.
Oh, it is Luka.
Yeah,
okay.
it is Luka, and I think he's either plus 150 or minus 150. He's a heavy favorite. You got Steph at plus 500. I think you got Clay and Jordan Poole around plus 5,000. You get some real value on the Golden State guys.
Well, and isn't that kind of a decent transition into a Broncos conversation? Because it's who's going to be the leading receiver for maybe they're not a good example. I was going to say the Raiders. It seem obvious it's going to be Devontae Adams.
100%.
I guess it would have been better to do it for the Packers last year. It was 100% guarantee it's gonna.
Yep. Well, I still think even with Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow, it's near guarantee it's going to be Devontae
for sure. But then you look at the Broncos and it's it could be
open.
anyone.
Yep.
At least any of the top 3 wide receivers.
100%.
And so that's an interesting part of this.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we should start by defining this. What is a breakout? Because to me, a breakout means essentially going from not a household name to a household name.
Yep, 100%. Now, in Denver and Colorado or the nation?
Somewhere in between.
Okay.
Because like our listeners, everyone's a household name, right?
Yep.
Like, oh gosh, what was the name of that corner? I guess it's not a household name. I can't remember his name. Devontae Bosby.
You're right.
Devontae
Yep.
Bosby. Like Devontae Bosby is a household name for our listeners.
Beloved. I mean,
Yeah.
one of the most loved Broncos in the past 5 years.
Right. But so it has to be like the average mom in Highlands Ranch now knows his name.
So then my question to you is, how many household names are there on the Broncos right now? You got Russ.
One.
So this is kind of taking guys off of who can't be a breakout because they've already broken out.
I think I lowered the bar too low for like random Highlands Ranch moms knowing their name. How about random Highlands Ranch dads knowing their name?
Okay.
Not to say that there should be that, but I think
Sure.
it's you get where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Like not like a diehard Broncos fan, but turns the game on Sundays. Might
Yep.
go to the bar with
Yep.
his buds.
Yep.
Which of course the moms could do too.
Yep.
But Cortland Sutton, not eligible in my opinion.
He's a Pro Bowler.
Bowler.
He's
Yep.
a pro. Justin Simmons, not eligible. Kareem Jackson,
No.
he's not eligible. Okay, kind of
You
been
can't-
around
also,
too
you can't
long.
like break out at what 34.
Well, that's very true. Who else do we have Pro Bowl wise? Garrett Bowles? Yeah, All Pro.
Could he have? Yeah, that's true. I think he actually could be a breakout player
To be a national household name.
if he just did it again. Where what he did in 2020, where he was really good.
Okay, so we'll leave him in the pool. Is that it? To me, no one else stands out where I say he can't break out. And there's one guy that's in the comment section, not him himself, maybe him himself.
Oh, wait, are you talking about Pat Surtain?
Yes.
Cannot break out.
See, I think he can.
Every fan knows who he is. Every person who knows the Broncos knows Pat Surtain.
I think people know his name because he was a top 10 pick. But I think they know his name. I don't think people around the country know how good he is yet.
I think he could have. I think he could have a national breakout for sure. Where he goes from really good draft pick to top 3, top 1 corner in the league.
And I think what hurts, at least from a local perspective of talking about him, is we've heard the quotes that from the past 12 months, and especially these past couple months, where Justin Simmons said he's an All-Pro this year. He's a Pro Bowler this year, a guaranteed top 5 corner in the NFL moving forward. And we all buy that. At least I buy it. You buy it. We believe he's that good. But I don't think he's viewed that way around the league.
I don't either. I think that people are on their way there. I think anyone who knows ball is saying, like, watch out for Pat Surtain this year. Like, national people, you know?
Right.
And then there's, like, the talking head hot take people who probably have never watched a snap of Pat Surtain.
Exactly, because they haven't watched the Broncos.
Yeah.
Because they've been irrelevant.
So that is true. I guess there's multiple levels of breakout.
Yeah.
He could go from beloved Denver Bronco, because I think he might be the fan favorite right now.
Outside of Russ.
To top corner conversation in the league.
Yeah, and it's not going to be crazy. I mean, I have already included him in conversations with Champ Bailey. Now, obviously, he has a long ways to go in order to actually be there, but it's not crazy to say that he could have a similar career. That's at least how I view him. So we are so high on him, but I think from a national perspective, he can still break out. But Ryan, is that it then? Are those kind of the guys, and we'll include Pat Surtain in a later conversation, but are those the guys that are off limits? Really a Pro Bowl or an older guy?
Yeah.
I think so. There's a lot of candidates. And Ryan, I have a list of about 10, just over 10 guys that I think can be breakout candidates. I want to see how close our lists are.
Well, why don't I just try to guess your list?
Okay.
Jerry Jeudy.
He's on there.
Tim Patrick.
He's on there.
Oh, this was an interesting one that could have been considered in the non-breakouts, but since we didn't, Javonte Williams.
He is on there.
Bradley Chubb.
He is not on there. And the reason is, okay, he was one other guy that when I thought about this list, I thought about including him in the non-breakouts. And it probably could be more of a Pat Surtain conversation, but he's been in the Pro Bowl. Now, it wasn't a great year, but he was a Pro Bowler.
He's got to be in there.
Okay. That's fine. He can, man, it's crazy to be a Pro Bowler but still have a breakout year.
I'm interested if you have this guy, because I definitely have this guy. Ronald Darby.
I do have Ronald Darby.
Okay,
With
all
2
right.
question marks next to him, though.
Nice. Okay, is that 5?
Yep.
And you have 5 more.
Yep.
Breakout candidates. Quinn Miners.
No.
Oh, I think you should.
I think he's already from raising the stakes that we did. I thought he broke out from a Broncos perspective, but you're right, a national perspective, he is not.
And he is not even fans, like average fans,
That's fair.
because he's an offensive lineman.
Yep. No, that's fair. Quinn Miners is there. I actually had 14, so you can just guess away.
Oh, so just any player that starts.
Pretty much. Yep.
Greg Dulcich.
No.
Oh, no rookies.
No.
Rookies.
No,
I don't think
'cause
rookies can be breakout.
I agree. This is their opportunity this year to just be in the league.
Okay, Alberto.
Alberto is one of them. Now, do I think that'll happen? No.
I don't either.
We'll talk about these guys more in depth.
Did you put Melvin Gordon on the list?
I did not.
Okay.
No,
Okay. I
No.
don't. He's kind of in like a weird limbo.
He is.
Where he's probably not going, like, he's already been really good in the league. Mm-hmm. He's not even going to get the opportunity probably to outpace anything he's done previously.
And if you were going to ask who's going to have a bigger chance to separate themselves in the running back room, I think everyone's going to say Javonte this year.
Yep.
Also, Melvin's been a Pro Bowler.
This is an easy one. DJ Jones.
As a new guy, I didn't have him on the list. And as a defensive lineman that doesn't get sacks, I mean, it's really going to be hard to have a true breakout year.
He gets sacks.
Not that many.
Yeah, I think he was completely underappreciated. No one knew who he was before the Broncos signed him, and then everyone was like, oh, this guy's really good.
Yep, I agree. And I think that's how he's going to be as a Bronco.
Okay.
At least viewed nationally.
Interesting. It is kind of crazy. You can't even say, like, oh, he's going to be on a larger scale or a larger stage now.
Right.
Like, he's been to the Super Bowl.
Right.
He's done a lot of great things. He was literally in the NFC Championship game last year.
Yep.
And usually when teams make runs like that, like, all the players.
Right.
Like, think about the Bengals, how many players you can name on the Bengals.
Yeah.
You can name a ton of players on the Bengals. But for some reason, DJ Jones never got his flowers.
No, and 2 sacks last year, 3 sacks the year before, only 7 career sacks.
Yeah,
he is a guy that gets interior pressure, but just the position he plays is going to be tough.
And he defends the run really well.
Exactly.
Draymond Jones.
Yes. He's definitely in there.
Randy Gregory.
Definitely in there. Now, you could say his name because he's been with the Cowboys and he's been in the news a lot. He's a nationally known name. But when people think of him, I don't think they think like excellent football player. They think like big-time talent that has had some issues staying on the field for various reasons.
Yeah. And I think that the average person thinks one of 2 things. They either think he's always suspended or he's always injured.
Right. Yep.
And it's a mix of both.
It really is, yeah. About 50-50.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I guess you just want to break out the Broncos roster. I've wrote them all down.
Yeah.
You're getting there. You're doing a good job. I'll give you a couple hints. I have one more receiver.
KJ Hamler.
Yes. Do you agree with that?
Yes, of course. Man, I hope KJ just blows me away because I don't have expectations for him.
Nope.
None at all.
Nope. That's why it's probably easy for him to be a breakout player.
It really is. I mean, it's kind of weird. Like, all he has to do is play.
Yeah.
And he's going to have a breakout season.
Yep.
Straight up.
Yep.
He might be the one of 2 easiest breakout candidates.
I agree. Because if KJ Hamler comes out and has 2 catches for 20 yards each in a game, do you think that's crazy to say? He gets about 2 catches for 40 yards.
For 40 yards,
like,
no.
That doesn't seem crazy, does it? If he does that, Ryan, we're talking about a 680-yard season. But that's if he stays healthy.
Yep.
But we're not saying he has to do anything crazy.
35 catches.
Yeah. Exactly. Or if he has 2 catches, one of them's on a screen and it goes for 2 yards, and he has one more catch that goes for 35 yards. Boom, there you go.
Yeah, it's such a good point. It always feels, though, easier to get those 2 catches than it really turns out to be in the game.
It does.
And
It does.
I never knew that until you could bet on how many catches players would get in the game.
Right. You're like 3.5 for Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, I'm like, he should have that on the first drive.
Especially Cortland Sutton last year.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how many especially after the hot start.
Mm-hmm.
And they were putting his numbers at 5.5, and you're like, oh, he's going to have 6. He has 1 for 7 yards, and you're like, how is this possible?
Yep, exactly.
I don't think we're going to be living in that world this year, though.
I think KJ Hamler's numbers before game 1 will probably be over under 1.5 catches.
Oh, man, that's going to seem so juicy.
Yeah, it sure is. The interesting thing, though, is, even if you're taking those shots, there's no guarantee you're going to hit them.
Yep.
But it's so true. If he plays 14 games, he broke out.
Yep. 100. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Because 14 games, he'd still be over 500 yards.
Exactly. Don't think you put Mike Boone on there.
I did not put. I don't think Mike's going to be seeing the ball that much.
Kwan Williams?
He was a tough one because he's been around for a while. I think locally he can absolutely break out.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we determined that he has the most forced fumbles of any player on the Broncos.
Which is nuts.
Really nuts. Yep. I think we've talked about everyone.
Okay, so I'm going to go through some guys who probably can't break out nationally, just guys who are more local. We got Josie Jewell. Maybe he could be a national one if he plays the way he played the first week and a half last year. Because if he plays that level, Ryan, he should legitimately be a Pro Bowler. Now, here's the kicker. He played that well for 2 weeks last year. So it's not like there was a massive sample
against
size
two bad teams.
Right, where I feel so confident that he's going to do that. And we know the Broncos are going to be playing a lot of dime. He may not be on the field at all times, but that's kind of an under-the-radar one. Jonas Griffith, that's really a dark horse
I missed
guy.
a couple guys, yep. I don't know why I just skipped over inside linebacker entirely.
It happens in this day's NFL.
Yeah.
Except if you have Vic Fangio.
Jonas Griffith, definitely a big one, and then I should have said Baron Browning as well. Although... we'll see.
I agree. The talent, if he plays inside linebacker, is definitely there. But 5th, 6th outside linebacker,
yeah,
going to be tough.
And I think there's a good chance he ends up being used as more of a weapon than anything we're talking about.
I agree. One more on the defensive side. This is a real dark horse. McTelvin.
Wow.
And, I mean...
You put him on there, not Quinn Meinerz?
Yeah. Because on the offensive line, I put 2 guys. Calvin Anderson, probably a dark shot again, or dark horse because he's not even the starter right now.
I don't think he starts.
And then one guy, I agree with you. One guy who I think legitimately could have a breakout season is Dalton Reisner. And the reason for that is when he last played in this system, his rookie season, he was really good. And Ryan, we were talking, he probably wasn't a Pro Bowler his rookie season, but he was a fantastic second-round pick that rookie season. But where our expectations were, he should be a Pro Bowler next year. That's what he could become this year. And obviously, he dropped off big time these last 2 seasons. We were even talking about, should he even be the starter? Should Ntani Moody take his spot? Should Quinn Meinerz take his spot? If he's ever going to break out, it's this year. And Ryan, we talk about how so much money's on the table for Bradley Chubb. Same thing for Dalton Reisner. Now, we're not talking the exact same money as Bradley Chubb, but if Dalton Reisner comes out and has a borderline Pro Bowl year, what's he getting? 4 years, $40 million, somewhere around that? If he doesn't, he's talking about either staying with the Broncos on a backup deal or likely going somewhere else for borderline starter money. 1 year, $2 million. It's a $38 million difference.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Okay. Some interesting ones coming in the comments. Michael Ojemudia.
Wow.
Definitely a candidate to break out. He just had to be out there. Like, I don't know what they envision his role being.
And it's a great question. We haven't heard this new staff talk about him at all. And, of course, Ojemudia was hurt pretty much all of last year until the very end. And he, right now, is probably the Broncos' 4th cornerback and probably the Broncos' 3rd outside cornerback with Kwan Williams in the slot.
So depending on who... See, the thing is, like, when I imagine them bringing extra defensive backs on, I imagine Caden Stearns.
Me too.
But just in certain matchups, I could see it being Ojemudia.
Yep, so I'm touching wood here, but we know Ronald Darby, does not stay healthy. He's only done it once his entire season or his entire career. If he's out, that's probably the guy you're bringing in. You're not bringing Caden Stearns to be an outside corner. You're bringing OJ Mudia in to be that outside corner and replacement. So that's how he would get his shot.
Yep. That's a dark horse.
And what we say about Pat Surtain, quarterbacks are not going to throw his way. So Pat Surtain.
That's why I had Darby high on my list, because it's just like, I know he likes to make plays on the ball.
Yep.
I think he hasn't done a great job of catching passes.
It's done a terrible job. It's crazy. He's like in the top of the league in passes defended and has like 1 career interception.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, I think I remember this stat. But he makes plays on the ball, and he's going to have opportunities to get maybe interceptions or just keep defending passes.
Right. And so if it is OJ Mudia, boy, he may have the longest odds on here, but something you sprinkle a dollar or two on, because if there's a backup cornerback in on one side and Pat Surtain on the other side, if I'm any quarterback outside of Justin Herbert, because Justin Herbert had no problem picking on Pat Surtain last year and then got picked off twice, one of them for a pick 6. But if you're a wise quarterback, you're not going to go Pat Surtain's way. You are going to pick and pick and pick on OJ Mudia.
Yep, you sure are. All right, we're going to decide who is the breakout candidate for the Broncos on the other side. But first, I want to remind you guys to come down to the DNVR Bar for the Avs games. I actually wasn't here last night, of course, because I was at the game, but I saw some videos. It looked like it was absolutely popping. And the further they go, the more lit it's going to be. Yep. So I will be here tomorrow. God, I love that about hockey playoffs. Just bang, bang, bang. Yep. I'll be here tomorrow. Come hang out. Should be a great time. Let's watch the Avs. I have a feeling that old Jordan Binnington isn't going to get so lucky next game.
Oh, my goodness. Now, he was really good.
He was good.
Also the...
Nothing better than being good and lucky.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, the Avs outplayed the hell out of them last night. They got lucky, and their goaltender was really good. But, man, if the Avs have a similar game, it's going to be a blowout.
The Avs had more shots on goal than the Blues had shots attempted at all.
Wow.
Which is pretty crazy.
And wasn't it in overtime? It was like 13-0?
13-0.
It's going to be tough winning a game when you don't shoot at the net.
It's like the old saying when you're putting, like you can't make the putt if you don't get it to the hole.
Right.
Can't score a goal if you don't shoot the putt.
So that encourages to swing a little harder than too soft?
Yeah, well, it's just like, so if you have like an eagle putt, right, you only get a few of those every season unless you're really, really good.
Yeah.
It's like, don't leave it short, because
you
won't be able to live with yourself knowing that putt had no chance to go in no matter what.
Right. Yep. And a really cool thing that Breckenridge Brewer is doing is they are giving everyone an opportunity to nominate a community or someone in the community that's done great things in order to get free tickets to every single Avs home playoff game. So the longer the Avs are in it, the longer the DNVR bar is lit, the more tickets they are given away to a community star. It's such a cool thing that they've got going on. They're also going to hook up that community star with the official beer of the playoffs, which is, of course, Breckenridge Beer's Colorado or Avalanche Ale. They're going to hook you up with some Avalanche gear. And also, Breckenridge Brewery is giving a portion of all proceeds of Avalanche Ale to the Community Fund of Boulder County to benefit the Marshall Fire victims. So if you want to nominate a community star, go to BreckenridgeBrew.com and sign up, or BreckBrew.com and sign up there.
Also, another reminder about DraftKings Sportsbook, where you can go over and bet 5 to win 150 on any NBA money line, like we talked about before. Should be easy money, because you don't even have to win. So you just have to bet. And then you get $100, $150 in free bets. One thing that I'm looking at for the future, sprinkling a little bit on right now, is Cale Makar to win the Conn Smythe Trophy, which goes to the MVP of the playoffs.
I like that. What are we looking at? Odds right now.
He is the second highest behind Nathan McKinnon.
Yep.
So I think Mac, I haven't checked it recently, but Mac was plus 550 and Kale was plus 600.
I like both those values.
I like it too. I actually said on bets one day, like, instead of betting on the Avs to win the Cup, which has no value, just put a little bit on, half of what you would have bet on the Avs to win the Cup on Mac, half on Makar.
I like that a lot.
And anything can happen. Obviously, they would still have to win 11 more games.
Yep.
So, a new star could emerge. Darcy Kemper could go crazy in the Cup final if they make it. And so it's not a guarantee that if the Avs win, it would be one of those two, but it's damn close.
Yeah, it is pretty darn close. And right now, the Avs to win the whole thing plus 170 over at DraftKings Sportsbook. So getting way better value.
Yep, exactly. Anyways, go over to DraftKings. Use that code DNVR when you sign up to get that awesome deal. Of course, you must be 21 or older, Colorado only, new customers only, minimum $5 deposit. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
Okay, Ryan, it's not fair, but we need to just say the obvious. I'm sorry, Quinn Meinerz. I'm sorry, DJ Jones. I'm sorry, Dalton Reisner. You can't be the breakout player because you play a position that does not break out. It does not grab people's attention in the way we're talking about, where it's kind of a mix of national and local breakouts. So we can kind of wipe all of those guys away. However, I think we can leave Draymond Jones in there because he plays enough of a position. I guess his specialty is enough of a position where we talked about it yesterday. It's not crazy if he goes out and gets $15 million after this season. If he does that, he probably had 8 to 10 sacks. So I think we can leave that big boy in there.
Real quick, in the comments, they're bringing in Kendall Hinton as a breakout candidate.
Ryan, that'd be very bad for the Broncos.
And then someone said maybe Kendall Hinton is the Trinity Benson of this season, gets traded before. Someone else said no way anyone trades for him. I definitely would have been saying that about Trinity Benson at this time last year.
100%. And Kendall Hinton, you already have Russ raving about Kendall Hinton. So yeah, I think you could trade him.
A couple of quarterbacks hanging out.
He could come out this in preseason in games 2 and 3 and ball out, and then the Detroit Lions are sending a fifth for him. Yep. I could definitely see that. But breakout player, Ryan, if Kendall Hinton is a breakout player,
several breakout players that we just mentioned, something's gone terribly wrong.
Broken something. Yeah. Yes, touching wood.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so here's how I'm looking at it as I look to just determine who is the breakout candidate. What players have had something happen this offseason that instantly is going to make them better? And I think you know where I'm taking this. The wide receivers.
Yeah.
You look at the wide receivers and you say, okay, everything you've done to this point has been like shooting with a medicine ball, and all of a sudden you're out there shooting with a basketball. And life just got so much easier for you. We know the Broncos are going to throw the hell out of the ball. We know Russell Wilson is really, really good. And we know all of these receivers are putting up big stats this year. And it wouldn't even be crazy to say every receiver on the Broncos will have their best year of their career this year.
No, it's not crazy at all because you're asking for a 900-yard season from Jerry Jeudy. You're asking for an 1,100-yard season from Courtland Sutton. And I believe you're asking an 850-yard season from Tim Patrick.
Yep, and a season from KJ Hamler.
Yeah. And then what are you asking from Kendall Hinton? If you're asking a season from
Kendall Hinton's got to get 2 tuds to have the best year of his career.
That's true. Over under 1.5. What are you doing?
Under.
Okay, yeah. Way to just take the wind out of the sails of that conversation.
So it's got to be a receiver to me, to be the number 1 breakout candidate.
So then do you just go best receiver now? Do you go with who you think is going to have the best stats? Or the biggest gap in the best season that they've had? How do you go here?
Yeah, I'm going. I'm going to the player that I have time and time again said this guy's going to be amazing, and has not even been close to it yet. So if he does reach that, then he will absolutely be considered the breakout candidate of the Broncos. If he does it, he's a household name, and I'm going on record saying this is the single last time I will hype up this player. Meaning, if he doesn't meet these expectations this time, I'm out. I'm done.
I thought right before that last sentence, I thought you were going a different direction with this guy.
Interesting.
But I think we agree.
I don't know. I'd be surprised if you thought I was going in a different direction than Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah. I thought you were going Tim Patrick.
Okay.
Because of what's happened this offseason. Not just getting Russ, but then Russ, as you mentioned every time, who's the first person he talks about. Tim Patrick. And so when you were building that argument, Ryan, in my head, I was building the argument for it being Jerry Jeudy. So we're on the exact same page.
Yeah, and I really mean that when I say this is the last stand for me and Jerry Jeudy, because I was so hyped when the Broncos drafted him. Then he had a solid rookie season, but had the drops. Then last year he gets hurt right away. And so that's, I think, like, even all that stuff, like, builds up to the narrative of a breakout player. Mm-hmm. Everyone, anyone who's low on Jerry Jeudy, and I've had my moments being low on Jerry Jeudy as recently as Thursday.
Right.
But everyone who's low on Jerry Jeudy, I think, forgets one thing. When he got hurt in game 1 last season, he was going off.
Yep. He was on pace for a 100-yard game.
I think even more than that. I think he already had 100 yards. Maybe. But he was on pace to go off.
Yep.
And then he gets a really bad high ankle sprain. He's out for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then he comes back, and as we know, you can, and I said it when he was coming back. I said he's not going to be the same, and no one's going to care because he's on the field. And that's one of the toughest things about these players coming back. They all want to come back for their team. Russell Wilson, perfect example last year. When you come back, you're not the same, and then you get judged for it. And that's exactly what happened to Jerry Jeudy. What happened to Baker Mayfield, I think. I think Baker Mayfield is being wildly undervalued at this point because he played on a really bum shoulder last year. Jerry Jeudy played on a really bum ankle last year. So that's the one thing I'm like, I get it. Drops rookie year, down season last season, but don't forget, the one game he was healthy in, he was going off. And that's not a big enough sample size, but that's why he's my number one breakout candidate. If he stays healthy and he's out there, he's going to be open, and Russ is going to find him.
Ryan, you're a fan of The Bachelor, so I'm going to boil this down.
I would call myself a former fan of The Bachelor.
Me as well. I think we dropped off right around the same time.
It jumped the shark, as they say.
I don't know what that means, but
I can explain it to you if you want.
Yeah, please. Like you jumped over a shark. I'm not sure how this fits.
Gosh, I'm going to forget the name of the show, but there was a show.
Of course.
That was, it was a good show. People really liked it. And then in one scene, someone remind me in the comments what it is. The main character was surfing, and like a shark was in the water, and he jumped over the shark on his surfboard, and everyone was just like, what?
So it was like a realistic show until that happened?
Yeah, like, a standard show where something like that wouldn't happen. Yeah. And then he jumped the shark, and everyone was like, okay, this show kind of sucks.
That's actually incredible that's where that came from.
Yep.
Wow.
Gosh,
literally one scene. Well, Ryan, you're using Jerry Jeudy. It reminds me of The Bachelor. And what happened, not just with you, but for so many people, is Jerry Jeudy got the first rose. I mean, in love with him, right? I mean, the 15th overall pick, you love him at first sight.
First impression rose.
Yes. He gets the first impression rose.
Happy Days was the show.
Oh, Happy Days. And then there's some drama. The next couple weeks, he's getting into it with other guys, fighting for the girl. He's getting little tiffs with the girl herself, but she's still, when she looks into his eyes, I mean, it's love there.
Still feels that first spark.
Exactly. So she keeps him around, and now it's hometown. Now we're down to 4 people, and she's saying it's either all going to happen here or it's not going to happen, and I'm going to know. And that's kind of where you are, and where Broncos country is this is the last season, right? I mean, he's got everything to succeed, or at least show us enough this season, and we'll see what he does. And that's exactly where she's at, handing out this one final rose to him and saying, "Sweep me off my feet, or this thing's done."
Right, and this is like his opportunity to go above and beyond that first spark. He's kind of been coasting on that throughout this, but like he needs to show her something to make it seem real and not just lust, but love.
Yes, exactly. Beautifully said. I'm excited for this episode of The Bachelor coming up. But that's where Jerry Jeudy is. Yep. And now kind of on the opposite side, you talk about Tim Patrick, because I think he's a guy that is absolutely going to be in this conversation. Tim, unfortunately, and he's talked about it every year, he's an undrafted guy. He's not going to get that sizzle that Jerry Jeudy gets, and it has nothing to do with him. It just has to do with his draft status. It's just going to be a little harder for him to get that national attention, but he could get 1,000 yards this year. I wouldn't be surprised at that, and if he does, he's going to be such a good feel-good story, and he's going to be a guy that does catch national attention. But Ryan, when there's 2 receivers on the field in week 6, who's it going to be?
Wow, great question. I think it really there's no answer to this. I think it could be anyone.
Well, you have to give me an answer right now. I think you're fair in saying that.
I want to know what the play is. What are the route concepts? But
Hackett looks to Azani and says, "Give me the 2 best right now."
it's Cortland and Jerry.
Yeah. And that's unfortunately what it's going to boil down to for Tim. So Tim's going to have a really good season, but when it boils down to Jerry gets this one last opportunity, and that's going to be for most of the season. So week 6, I think it's still going to be Jerry.
Yeah. He's got to perform, though, man.
He does.
And just like I mentioned with Melvin Gordon, it's only fair to mention it with other players. All of your mistakes are more overcomable, but also more magnified. And the reason is because the games actually matter now. When Melvin Gordon fumbles away a game last season, late in the season, you can kind of be like, well, kind of helped,
Right.
Better draft pick. That's not how this works anymore.
No.
So if Jerry Jeudy is out there dropping big third downs against the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football,
and then poor body language after.
Yeah, and Demarius can tell you about what it's going to be like.
Yep.
People are going to lose their minds.
And you know who's probably not going to be dropping balls in practice and on those crucial third downs?
Tim Patrick.
It's Tim Patrick. And that's where Russ could then find that, let's say week 4, he starts really finding that trust with Tim Patrick. And we actually have Cody in the comment section. Third downs will be Tim Patrick's area. It's hard to disagree with that.
Yeah, but I think they're also going to be Jerry Jeudy's area if Jerry Jeudy is Jerry Jeudy.
Jerry is going to get that opportunity at first. And I think that's what this boils down to is Jerry's going to have the first opportunity. If he takes advantage of it early in the season, he's going to shine. If he doesn't, then it's going to quickly move away from people because when I think about great quarterbacks having receivers that are talented, but there's some issues, I think of Cody Latimer with Peyton Manning. Cody Latimer, second-round talent. The talent was there. How quickly did Peyton Manning drop him? At not just from a third-down guy, but pretty much out of the playbook. I mean, got him so he wasn't even on the field.
Yep.
If any receiver, not just Jerry, does that this year, Russ is going to say, I don't want him. And Nathaniel Hackett's not going to force that person down Russell Wilson's throat.
Yeah, that's true. It's really true. And trust is going to be such a big thing. I mean, remember Peyton. Honestly, if you dropped the first pass he threw to you of the game, you probably aren't seeing him pass the rest of the game.
Yep.
So trust is really, really important because Peyton, like the way Peyton looked at it, and I don't know if Russ looks at it this way, is like, I'm going to do everything right. So you guys better do everything right too.
Yep, exactly.
And if you can't catch the ball,
yep,
I know when you're going to be open and where.
Right.
But if I can't trust you to throw it,
yep,
then give me something. Give me someone else.
Yeah, exactly. So now, Ryan, our pod poll after this show on Twitter, you can find it at DNVR_Broncos. It's going to be who is going to be the breakout player of the year. So we got Jerry on there. Is Pat Surtain included, or are we saying he's too far? He's too good.
I think I said he was too good.
Too good? I'm okay with taking him off. That's who my guy would be, but I think Pat Surtain's a lot of everyone's guy. So then I'm going to make the case.
Also, if you put him on there, he just wins the poll, guaranteed, because he's everyone's favorite.
Right, exactly. Now, I'm going to make the case, but I need some help from you, which is probably going to be tough to make the case for someone when I'm asking for your help. Who has a better season, Bradley Chubb or Randy Gregory? Stuff.
Randy Gregory.
That's where I was leaning as well. And I'm going to make the case for Randy Gregory because two guys can get a lot of sacks from one team. It's going to be hard for KJ, Jerry, Tim Patrick to all have fantastic seasons. So I think in terms of a true breakout, Jerry's going to be hurt. Even if he has a great year, he's going to be hurt by those around him doing well as well. By Tim, by Cortland, even though Cortland's not on this list, but he could take some yards and touchdowns away from him. By KJ, by Alberto, by Dulcich. The sacks are out there, and sacks are going to be more out there and available all the way since 2015 when the Broncos had Vaughn and DeMarcus Ware. And I think Randy Gregory is going to have an opportunity to have his first double-digit sack season. And then people are going to be talking about the Cowboys, which always gets national attention, about why they let him go. Why did they put that clause in his contract? It's going to get the conversation going with him, and he has the talent to get 15 sacks in a season. But I'm going to go with him because I think a double-digit Zac season, if he stays on the field, which is a massive if, and I'm certainly not counting on it, gets him so much national attention.
I feel like you just said double-digit Zac, and that's way too many.
Yeah. That too many?
Way too many.
On one show?
Can only do... probably do 3 Zacs.
3 Zacs? Okay, we can do that. Yeah. 3 sacks, Zacs.
Yes. Yeah, double-digit sack season for him absolutely puts him on the map, and you're right. There'll be this whole, like, wow, the Cowboys messed up, and everyone likes that narrative.
Yes.
Okay. Is Tim going on?
I think so.
Okay.
And then we need one more.
I would want to put KJ, honestly, but can we have 3 wide receivers in the top 4?
It's probably realistic.
Does Javonte Williams not count?
I think Javonte does count,
We can put him on here.
but what does a breakout season look like for him?
It has to be 1,000 yards.
Okay. What did he have last year?
He had 907.
So if he gets
93.
93 more yards, 97 more yards, that's a breakout season? I don't think so.
That's fair. So did he almost break out last year?
I think he made his bar so high that a breakout would have to be like, I'm going to say at least 1,100 yards. Even that sounds kind of funny, like 107 more yards.
Right. What really holds me back about Javonte has nothing to do with Javonte. It has to do with Melvin Gordon. Those guys are going to be sharing reps. They're going to be splitting them pretty close to even. I don't think it's going to be even, but close. And then also, you're going to have Russell Wilson throwing the ball. And Ryan, what do we say? Make your quarterback happy. Russ was pissed in Seattle because they were a run-first team. I'm not saying abandon the run, but this year, make Russ happy. Throw the ball as much as he wants.
At least 60-40.
Yes, and then have a little bit of balance there with the run, but don't focus on true balance this year.
Yep. And it's going to be interesting. I think Javonte really relied on big runs last year. And that just scares me just from a replicability standpoint. You know, it's like, is that sustainable? I'm not saying it isn't, but it just worries me a little bit. Like, and I love the idea of Russ carving teams up with his arm, forcing them to go into dime and then handing it off inside to Javonte, and he's just, trucking 170
Poor
pound.
defensive back. What's wrong with 170-pound guys?
Nothing.
Good, because I'm not one of them.
So yeah, I mean, I love that idea, but he's going to need some big runs or he's going to need to get much better at consistency.
Right, and so I think maybe 2023 is when we're talking about him being able to have a monster season, which will be a breakout. And even then, he's already going to be a household name enough. But Ryan, I think I figured out their 4th. Draymond Jones. It's our 2nd defensive guy. We'll have 2 offensive guys, 2 defensive guys. And Draymond Jones is a guy, we talked about him yesterday, $15 million a year. If he does that, well, he's certainly having a breakout year this year. He talks about 10 sacks as his goal. I think Draymond Jones is the 4th guy on this list.
Okay. I can stand by that. I would rather it be KJ, but 3 receivers is a little bit of overkill. So,
it shows you just how much talent is in the receiving room and how much of an opportunity there is with Russ.
I gotta say, man, Russ at the Avs game last night. Did they show him on the broadcast like early?
Yes.
Okay, because I know like Allie tweeted it out right after they put him on the jumbotron, and it didn't like go crazy. So I'm like, oh, everyone must have already known.
Yep.
Yeah. We didn't know.
Oh.
So the first time
was late in the game.
game, and like they needed some energy, and then they show Russ, and it just reminds me how big the Broncos are.
Yep.
Just how big the Broncos are. There are 18,000 people in there last night wearing Avs gear, and Russell Wilson comes on the screen, and everyone absolutely loses it.
Yep.
Just loses it.
Yep.
And it's just like, man, the Broncos are the common denominator.
And it just shows you this town is so ready to explode with the Broncos that literally a player's in the building for another team's game 4 months before the season starts, and it explodes when they just show him on the screen. And I try to flip it. Let's say, and this is no disrespect to Nathan McKinnon. He's one of the best players on the planet. Let's say he's at a Broncos game. Does that make the crowd go crazier than it's been outside of a touchdown?
It will when he's carrying the cup onto the field.
That would be dope. That would be dope. But I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think the Russ effect is legit.
Man, I hadn't even thought about that in my Avs Stanley Cup dreams. Just like the thing, well, like they do the whole thing where every player gets the cup for a day.
Yep.
And like just following that is going to be so epic, hopefully. But like I don't you think week 2 at home they honor the Avs and they bring the cup out.
Yep. And also on top of that, Ryan, no disrespect to the Rockies, but the Nuggets and I guess it's just the Nuggets and the Avs, they won't have played a game since the Avs hopefully win the Stanley Cup. It'll just be the Broncos.
Yeah. Gosh, please make it happen. Let it happen.
Yes.
Sports
Yes.
Okay, I got a little distracted thinking about rest of the game. It really was. I love those little reminders though. Like sometimes I'll be sitting in a restaurant and I'm just like looking around and I'm like, I bet almost every person in here is a Broncos fan.
Yep. Yep. And another really cool thing about Russ going to the game, so he was for sure there in the third period. And I did think when it got to overtime, Broncos have some off-season workouts today. We know Russ likes to get in at 5:30 in the morning. I wonder if he stayed. I wouldn't blame him if he left just moving into town. But no, he was there because he was filming.
Posted the video.
Yep. And I'm thinking, man, that's also so dope that he's not just there to show his face. I'm sure that helps a little bit. But he's there truly buying in.
A true fan of sports, I think.
Yeah.
Which I love.
And all different types. I mean, he's a part owner. Now I think a silent or of the soccer team in Seattle. Maybe that'll happen with the Rapids.
Yep. Hopefully we get a women's soccer team.
Yeah.
Or a WNBA team. I would love either. Yeah, I mean, even when they just show him, he looks genuinely happy. And, like, that's an easy thing to fake. So, like, who knows? But, like, he actually looks like he's, like, having a good time, smiling, loving it.
One thing. He's decked out in Russell Wilson gear, and that's great. Yeah, have the Russell Wilson hat and sweats on, but throw a sweater on.
They offer it to him.
Why aren't we doing that?
I don't know. He
wants
just all
to
about
push the brand, man.
The guy wants to push the brand.
And to be fair, I noticed it. It was everywhere on him.
I did, but I'm someone who falls for these tricks often, and I haven't been motivated to buy any sort of Russell Wilson.
It's true, but what I know about the Russell Wilson line, he's got every single color. I mean, he's got the Broncos colors. He obviously had the Seahawks colors. Now he's got the navy blue, which isn't necessarily the Avs, but he was decked out in mostly the Avs colors. I'm sure he's now got a Nuggets line.
Yeah. Something for everything.
Yep.
I felt like I had one more point about that. The camera work needs a little work.
From him?
From him. I watched I watched his video when I got home, several drinks deep, and I was like, I can't watch this anymore. It's making me dizzy.
Shaky?
Yeah, because he was just like, oh my God.
Maybe he can come in here. He can join us on an episode, and we can teach him a little. I mean, we've got 3 cameras right here. Kale can help him out. I can help him out with, some iPhone camera shots.
Well, RG has this camera that like auto stabilizes no matter what you do.
Yeah.
That's what he needs.
I'm not sure Russ can afford that.
We'll let him borrow it.
Yeah. He did just buy a $25 million house.
He did. Yes, he did. Well, that's probably why he can't afford it anymore.
It's really true. And if you're looking to get all the options that you can imagine, check out our friends over at Lightshade Dispensary. Their Barnum location, Ryan, a brand new one, just 1 block off 6th and Federal, is their largest store yet. And it has specialty products that aren't offered at other locations, but something that's offered at their locations is Ripple, which is a fast-acting dissolvable. It's clinically proven to hit 2 times faster than the leading gummy, and it starts absorbing within 10 minutes, so it hits you on a consistent basis every single time. And if you use code DNVR over at lightshade.com or any of their 11 Denver Metro locations, you'll get 25% off all non-sale items. Check them out over at Lightshade Dispensary or lightshade.com for 25% off. Use code DNVR.
Hell yeah. Someone in the comments said there are a few Rockies players there, but no one knew who they were. That would be weird because they were playing.
That would be very weird.
I think he's just making a joke, though.
I think there were a couple of other Broncos there, but they didn't show them on TV.
Or on the Jumbotron.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy. Who?
I did hear Dalton Reisner was there.
Why aren't we getting the Dalton Reisner, David Bakhtiari thing where they pan over to him and he chugs a beer?
Also, why wouldn't he be with Russ in his suite?
I don't know.
And a sweet life.
I mean, do you think that they're like in the group chat being like, hey guys, going to the Avs game tonight, who wants to come?
I would think Russ would just say, hey, I don't really know anyone here, so all my teammates, you're welcome.
The weirdest thing about when they put him on the Jumbotron was there was no one around him.
Right, exactly.
It made it look like he was at the game alone.
But it was actually a sold-out crowd.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, he was in a suite, and like I don't know if they asked everyone to leave the seats of the suite because he was just alone in those seats that are in the suite.
There was no Sierra next to him that you could see.
Nope.
Interesting.
I don't know if that was like by design.
Yeah.
Or if like they saw the camera set up and they're like, I'm getting out of here. This is
Right.
Russ's thing.
Yeah, I would think it'd be that thing,
Yeah.
not the camera asking people to move.
And I'm guessing Sierra wasn't there because we would have wanted her. Like,
Yep.
that would have made the crowd even louder.
I mean, she's the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Yeah.
It's a great thing for Denver.
Legend.
Was he when they showed him? Was he waving the flag?
He had like a sign that said
Okay,
like
go
playoff
Avs.
noise
Yeah,
or something.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yep. Yeah.
Jesus, it was loud. That was the coolest thing of sitting down there. I've never sat that low for a playoff game. Feel the noise so much more.
Man, and you get the feeling of the game too.
Yep. The speed is insane.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Do we have any super chats we got to get to? Let's do it. From Brian. Vibe check. Morning, boys. That's all he's got.
Vibes are good. Vibes are good, Brian. Love hearing from you.
Vibes are great. Perfect weather today. Why couldn't we get this type of weather for 2 more days?
Man, it is 87 on Thursday, Ryan. And then Friday, it obviously had to push our golf tournament 1 week. Saturday, the high is now 39 with snow. I saw some weather forecasts are predicting it could be the biggest snowstorm in Denver in May in 40 years.
I'm supposed to be at a concert at Mile High that night. Are they going to cancel it? I wouldn't
Maybe.
mind if they just cancel it.
No, push it a week back.
Yeah, or do it in August or something.
Yeah, then you can have your Friday next week of the golf, and this week you can just hang out inside, watch the
I'm
Avs.
going to drink hot chocolate and Baileys while watching the Avs in May?
Yeah, I think you are.
Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
It's even, obviously, the golf tournament is out in Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Which isn't a far drive, really, from Denver. But it's always a little colder there.
Yep.
It was supposed to be 40 and snowing. We're like, we're not doing a golf tournament here.
No.
So now we're doing the golf tournament next Friday. A lot of you have reached out to me and said like, oh man, I wish I could have made it. I'm busy on the 20th. Well, now it's the 27th. The tickets are still, or I guess foursomes are still available. We still have a little bit of room. Would love to see you guys out there. It's going to be an absolute blast. I love the course. It's one of my favorite courses to play. So come hang out next Friday. Weather looks prime, 78 degrees.
Yeah, and if you have any questions or you need to switch that and you have questions about switching, you can email help@thednvr.com.
Exactly. All right. Let's jump into the comments from the listeners.
All right, first one coming in from Denver Rivals says, hey guys, great podcast today. DNVR fam, we would love to have you join the DNVR Rivals program. We are looking for players, coaches, and volunteers to help us fundraise and have a great season. Search up Denver Rivals Alzheimer's Association to join. I think Russell Wilson at worst will flip our record last year, 10-7. My expectations are 12-5 with losses at the Chargers, at the Rams, at the Chiefs, and likely some fringe games versus the 49ers, Cardinals, or at Raiders to make us 12-5. Also, I've noticed no DNVR theme the past few shows. I'm a musician before getting into nonprofit event work and would be so down to write a Broncos podcast DNVR theme. I'm just having fun and having listened a while. I trust you're still adjusting it. La Loma used to be one of the best tailgate spots for Broncos football Sundays when it was near Spear. Y'all are making me hungry near lunchtime.
Same.
Thank you and thank you for all of your hard work. And DNVR fan, please support DNVR Rivals. I think that'd be awesome to have a new theme song.
Yeah, so we got to figure something out here because many people have asked.
Mm-hmm.
They want to make it, or they want a new one. And Pleasure Horse has always kind of had first dibs on that.
Yep.
So we got to figure something out. Like I love Pleasure Horse. And in fact, I love, one of my favorite things is when people are like, what is that song at the end?
Yeah, it happens all the time.
And I get to, turn them on. Hopefully even if we brought dozens, hopefully we've brought hundreds of new fans to Pleasure Horse's music. But there is a part of me that's like, oh, maybe we could change it up, do a new vibe, like, a slightly different genre. But I don't know. I'm conflicted because I love Pleasure Horse too. So we got to think on this.
I mean, worst case, we get a lot of good ones and we rotate.
Yeah, or we could do like a contest.
Yeah.
Like send them in and we'll choose the best one.
I like that. So Denver Rivals, go ahead.
Yeah, by all means.
Yeah, we'd love it. And also pleasure horse anyone else.
Yeah, should we just do it?
Yeah, I think so.
Just say we're gonna. If anyone who wants to send us their nominee for our new intro song, and we'll pick our favorite one. I guess it doesn't even. I mean, it could be anything.
Yep.
Send us a nominee for our new intro, and we'll consider all candidates.
I love it. I can't wait to see what we get.
I guess email both of us, Ryan at DNVR.com, Zach at DNVR.com.
Beautiful. There we go. The Chosen Vaughn says, love the podcast as usual. I could use some recommendations from you guys. I'm coming into town this weekend for my bachelor party and would love some bar brewery recommendations. I just checked the weather and realized I might have to reconsider my plans to drink exclusively on patios in shorts. Any must-go places aside from the DNVR bar?
I'm so sorry for you, man.
I know.
This sucks.
I know. If you're an Avs fan, here, Saturday night is going to be the place to be. And it's inside, too.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, man. That's such a bummer.
Yeah, it really is.
And this isn't normal.
No. In April, sure. You could expect one weekend of just dumping something. We actually didn't have any snow in April this year. Like the first time in forever.
Yep. And now we're going to get it in late May.
Yeah.
I do remember it snowed on my graduation day from CU.
Wow. A lot?
Yeah.
Wow.
Shout out to my mom. Because we were gonna have like a pool party at their house for my graduation party. Pivoted last minute, ended up getting like a sweet tent.
Wow.
For the backyard that everyone could go in, heaters and all that stuff.
Damn, that's awesome. Mom coming through.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Other places, Avanti, if you haven't been to Denver yet, that's got a really good view of Denver.
Yeah,
there's some outside there. Yeah. That's man, that's tough.
Yeah. Just come here.
Yeah. Come here. There's a lot of great spots around town, though. Next one coming in from Orange is a New Sack. Hey, DNVR. I'm from New York looking to fly to Denver. First, I'm debating going to a sure win, Jets or Texans, or a game that should be competitive. Second, what's the best bang for your buck section? But those are not the main issues. The issue is ticket prices. I read somewhere that they don't release all the tickets at once. Is that true? When do the rest come out? If so, 15 minutes after the schedule dropped, they were already resale tickets asking $1,200 for Section 105. $500 for Section 320 is insane. I could see the playoffs, but not the regular season. Thanks for advance.
Have they released single game tickets already?
They did. They did it right after the schedule dropped.
Damn.
Yeah. Season except for London. That happens in June.
I knew that. Do they still do the half price day?
And that's, I think, in June as well.
Okay. So that's the one to look out for. There's kind of different strategies about it. I think the Jets-Texans, not Texans. That's going to be an impossible ticket to get.
First game at home.
Maybe focus on the Jets on half-price ticket day. And then I would say sit in the South stands, even if you're at the top of the South stands. It's the rowdiest. Yeah. It's my personal favorite view. My favorite way to watch football is from above the end zone. If you get too low, then you can't see how far anything went. So you got to be like at least 30 rows up in the South stands, and you'll get good bang for your buck there.
In Orange is the New Sack, I have some bad news from you. The best bang for your buck section was last year. This year with Russ, it's going to be really tough to get good bang for your buck.
But when you look at the resale now, there's no urgency for those people to sell those tickets. Right. So they're putting them at ridiculous prices because they're like, hey, if someone pays this, good for me.
Yep.
And if no one buys them, then they'll lower them as the game gets a little bit closer. I don't think it's going to end up being 4 digits to sit in the first level. Yeah. But it might be for that first game.
Yeah, it really could be. And Ryan, we had actually someone ask a similar question a couple weeks ago that we didn't touch on in here. Would you personally rather go to a potential blowout game like the Jets or the Texans, or would you rather go to a game that is going to be competitive but the Broncos have a chance to lose, let's say like the Chiefs?
I would always rather go to the bigger game.
Me too. Me too. And we had a couple people in the comment section the last time this was asked saying both sides, but I would rather take the risk and go to a better game.
Well, and here's my thing. I don't want it to be a good game.
Right.
If the Broncos blow them out, that's the perfect thing. That's what we were talking about last night as we were going to the Avs. Me, Allie, Eric, and Adam. It's like, I hope this is a terrible game. 7-0. But we also got a big game, and it turned out to be a great game, and the Avs won. Like
Yep.
that's
And right
kind of the
in front of you.
trifecta.
Yep.
You don't want to go see a loss, but beating the Jets, especially in this new era,
Right.
isn't going to be all that exciting.
No, pretty predictable.
Yeah,
Too. Yeah.
It'll be fun to watch them, score touchdowns and
Yep.
stuff. But I would much rather go Sunday Night Football against the Chiefs and like hope for the best.
I agree. Now those tickets will be a lot more expensive, so probably not best bang for your buck there. Next one from Beham
worst
Bronco.
bang for your buck.
Yeah, says, "Hey Kings, as a resident of Nashville, I actually live about 20 minutes south of the city in Franklin. I would love to see you guys come out for the Titans game. Nashville is a truly awesome city with a very passionate Titans fan base, some amazing food and cool attractions. Needless to say, if the DNVR crew decided to take the trip, I'd be happy to provide some recommendations and would hope to meet you guys at the game. I'll be there with my wife, who has demanded we both buy Russell Wilson jerseys for the occasion. Thanks for all you guys do, and have a fantastic Wednesday." Sounds like you got a pretty good wife.
Yeah, absolutely. I really want to do Nashville. We're figuring out London right now. So, like, I think once we get our London plan solidified, then we can move on and start thinking what other cool things we can do. I will say this. I talked to someone. I'm not saying we're doing this, but someone that I really trust the other day said, like, you guys should be doing like events for every away game. And I was like, wow, that's a lot, but interesting. And he kind of built a whole case as to why.
I love it. I love it. You're getting me excited.
So I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I really do want to go and try to do some stuff.
Yep.
This season. So
Yep. We certainly are with London.
especially because, like I've said multiple times, this is the vibes season.
It is. Everything's good.
Everything's good. Everyone's happy. Winning feels amazing. Everyone's excited. It's like a honeymoon period. Not to say that the honeymoon with Russ is going to end, but there's the expectation. No one's sitting here saying it's Super Bowl or bust for the Broncos this year.
You're right.
If they make the playoffs, they win a playoff game this year, we will be saying that next year.
Yep.
It's like, okay, it's time. It's time to go.
Yep.
Fun's over. Now the work starts.
But the fun is this year.
This
fun
is
is
the fun
here.
year.
Mike1809 says, "Let's go Avs." Broncos question: if there's going to be a new jersey design or logo, when would it be released? I want to get a Russ jersey, but don't want to buy one that's going to be quickly outdated. I would say next year. So now you're in a tough spot. Do you want a Russ jersey for a season before it changes, or do you just want to wait a year without having a Russ jersey?
Okay, so I'll make two cases here. One, I don't like the current jersey, so I would much rather wait for a new one. But two, what jersey is cooler? If you have an old John Elway jersey or a new John Elway jersey?
Old?
The old is cooler.
Yeah.
That being said, it might just be because it's a better looking jersey, but it also just like looks cooler, right? You have the old Elway. So maybe 20 years from now, it's like, oh, you have the old Russ.
And also, it was only for 1 year too, so
Yep.
not many people are going to have that.
Yep. And it's funny because the new Elways were only 2 years for him playing.
Right.
So that's kind of an interesting look at it too. I was about to say something. Oh, just him saying "Let's go Avs" reminded me. Like, I just want to shout out everyone who came up to me at the Avs game and said, "Hey, I watched the show."
That's dope.
It's my favorite thing. So like, don't ever, if you see me, don't ever feel like, oh, should I go up and say something? I love it so much. It's just cool to meet people that watch the show, give them a fist pound, thank them for supporting us. And I'm not trying to flex, but it happened a lot last night.
That is
and it was so cool.
That is so cool, Ryan. I was on a walk last week in my neighborhood, and David Brewster came up to me, said what's up. So shout out to David Brewster, Andy Amber. I know you guys watch the show together. Really cool, and just like Ryan said, it's so cool.
It's the best. And I need to run into more people when I'm not drinking so I can remember their names like you.
I guess afternoon walks. Typically, I can remember those.
Would hope so. All right, let's keep it rolling here. LDJ. Hey, guys, so there's no way George Payton enters next year's draft with 5 picks, right? That's just not Payton. So who's a possible trade candidate that at the trade deadline, excluding Chubb, of course? I'm between Cortland and Tim Patrick because, I mean, the wide receiver market has exploded, but Peyton got those deals done prior to the market, and both those guys can do the same thing. If Peyton can get a second or higher for Cortland, is Cortland gone? Or if he can get a third or higher for Tim, is Tim gone? I don't know what you guys think.
Some team offers you a first for Cortland.
No.
I would.
Yes.
I would, but I don't think the Broncos would. And the reason is Cortland would be having a great year. And so you'd be taking probably Russell Wilson's best weapon away from him in the next couple of years when he's supposed to explode with Russ. That's going to piss him off, and it's going to hurt Russ a little bit. That's, again, not something you're trying to do, at least in these next few years, is do anything to upset Russ.
It has to be a no. Those things don't happen. Teams that are good and are trying to win Super Bowls don't trade good players for picks.
What about Devontae Adams? Is that just a cap thing?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I don't know the details behind that, but I think it was just a cap thing. They had to pay Aaron Rodgers of $50 million a year.
And Broncos are going to have to pay Russ $50.
Yep, they are. They also got Cortland and Tim really cheap.
Yeah, they did for less than the price of just one Devontae Adams.
Yes, and we've already debated whether that's better or worse, but it is true. You've got two players there, so maybe you do clear one, but even in a world where someone offered a first-round pick for Cortland, like you mentioned, it means Cortland's balling out. And as tempted as George Payton would be to get a pick, you don't take really good players away from Russell Wilson. It's just it does not happen.
Yeah, I don't see it happening either. No.
Yeah. Unless there's a cap thing.
Maybe after this season, it could happen. But during the season, no, it wouldn't. J-Pat SoCal Bronco says it's tough to see Javonte, Russ, or Gordon greatly improving as they all had strong stats from the amount of snaps they got last year. I think the most improvement has to be Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton. Jeudy had 0 touchdowns, and Sutton had 3 last year. It feels so good to have a dynamic quarterback and a positive, younger, offensive-minded head coach. Hashtag dishwasher salmon, hashtag let's ride, hashtag one hole in a straw.
Love it. Love it. I still forget. I think I'm a 2 holes guy.
Oh, me too. Anytime someone makes an argument for that, that's what I am.
Yep. From Samuel Bisou. Hey, guys, one question. If everyone stays healthy, touch wood, which unit has the highest ceiling and the highest floor on offense or defense, and where do they rank versus the division? Okay.
I think this is his own pod.
I think it is too.
I think it's a great question, Samuel. So we're going to make it a first segment topic.
He also goes on and said, now that Mace has moved on, do you guys return to the old format of only you two, or are you going to add someone else? Stay tuned. Are you bringing back the old song, or is Pleasure Horse already working on a new one? We talked about that a little bit earlier. Whatever it is, I can't wait for the season to start and finally enjoy a good, exciting team with this community. Man, 100% agree.
That's something when I think about, Ryan, what we've been through the past few years. We've had so much fun with it, and this community has been awesome, and we've all really grown together. We haven't watched a winning football team.
Never.
I mean, since this podcast has been going on the daily.
Rarely seen a team with a winning record at any point.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. And now we're pretty much, with Russ, guaranteed a winning record, playoffs. I can't freaking wait. It's going to be so cool. And when I think of that, I get chills.
Yep, me too. I mean, I watch the way that, all the fun that like the Nuggets community has and the Avs community has, and we have a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
But there's this another level to it when you're talking about big moments, big games, game-winning touchdown throws. Like, the Nuggets get to talk about multiple Jokic buzzer beaters every year, or a sick assist he made to open up a buzzer beater, and they get to have a whole show about that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm trying to think. We had the Drew, led the crazy comeback against the Chargers.
Yep. We had Drew's Texans game.
Yep.
Thanks, Drew, for the good memories.
I don't even think I was on that post-game show.
Oh.
Because I was driving back from somewhere.
Oh, man.
I know. Maybe I was. Or was that wouldn't have been pre-post-game show era, would it?
It could have been.
Okay. Was that 2019?
It was.
Yeah, I think we weren't even doing post-game shows at that point.
Wow.
So we've had, very few just like blow your mind. Yep. Everyone's losing it. The chat is just like scrolling automatically. People are just going crazy.
Yeah.
Way too many games where we're giving rants afterwards.
Yeah, big time. Not enough fun after games.
Exactly. Final one here from Tommy Bronco says, guys, long time no comment since living in Hawaii. I forget the time difference. So by the time I get any of my day going, the pod is already almost finished. I was able to squeeze in a comment today, though, before going to work. Man, living in Hawaii, that sounds dope.
Yes.
Now, 2 things. My in-laws had the crazy idea to meet in LA for Christmas. They live in Colorado for they're going to meet for a couple of days to go see Broncos Rams. I was excited for the idea, but then thought, what is there to do in LA? I hate all the sports teams there, and LA is mostly a dumpster fire like the Chargers. Help! I don't want to be. I don't want it to be a wasted trip for Christmas. Okay, so I know we have some fans who live out in Southern California, so maybe you can post something for our friend Tommy Bronco here. I mean, there's like good food.
I think there's some cool things
taco
there.
spots.
Yeah.
There's
a beach not too far away.
Beach. I don't.
Yep.
Is it beach weather in December there? Like, I know it's nice.
Yeah, probably not. Right, but swimming probably not.
Yeah, probably not. Anyways, it goes on. My in-laws. Lastly, the Seahawks Twitterverse cracks me up. They're like someone who got in an argument with their ex where both parties are a little flawed and could own up to their mistakes, but instead double down and put all the blame on their ex, and their friends are convincing them they did nothing wrong. Not to mention, Seahawks fans are trying to convince themselves that their relationship, that their new relationship, Drew Lock, is going to be great, and everyone is wrong about this new guy. Oh no, Seahawks fans, we know your pain. Bless your heart. Bless your heart. Cheers, Tommy Bronco. I want to be the person who says, like, stop caring about the Seahawks, but it's too easy because the Broncos are going to be so much better than them that I'm like, actually, take this smoke. Like, invite this beef because you're going to get to dunk on them so hard later.
Yep. I'm just so excited to not have to convince ourselves of things that we have to convince ourselves about. You know,
Right.
I don't have to convince myself that Russ is good. When national media says that Russ is washed, I say, again, okay, if 25 touchdowns and 6 picks is washed, I'll take any washed quarterback in that regard. And so I love it. I'm happy that we're in this era that we don't have to go convincing and going and bashing teams in the other conference because you're very insecure about what you have.
Yeah, but it's like it's a risk-free beef. Like the Jokic Embiid beef, that's an emotional risk.
Yep.
Because it's like they're very close. Now, I obviously am always going to believe that Jokic is better.
As you should.
And he's the back-to-back MVP to prove it. But Embiid absolutely could have gone on a tear down the stretch and won MVP.
Sure.
But, like, this is a risk-free beef. It's like, for me, like, CSU, that's a risk-free beef for me.
Yep.
Watch
Watch yourself.
Like, you know, like, they're not going to be able to say anything in a few months. So let them talk all they want now and respond because you're going to have all the receipts.
Man, September 12th, it's going to be popping.
Gonna be crazy right here.
Yep. Oh, this bar's gonna be nuts.
Just shoulder to shoulder all the way through.
I see what you did there. A little CU tie-in.
Man, I can't wait for that. And we gotta stop doing this because it's like
I'm pumped.
I get too
I'm
excited.
pumped, baby.
Thank God the Avs are still around. I can channel that
Yes.
excitement somewhere. But I think that's all we got in the comment section. That's gonna wrap it up for us today. Appreciate everyone. It looked like you guys were really getting into it in the comment section today, so we appreciate you guys. And we'll be back with you, of course, tomorrow on the DNVR Broncos podcast.